I want to talk to you about two very useful tools and put those two tools together when you're actually designing and implementing new services in particular. So, jobs to be done and empathy mapping. We sometimes call empathy mapping customer exploration as well. This brings a very different mindset to it. So if you put the word customers in there, it actually does change the inference to some degree. Now this is a tool that we call Rich Pictures. You can watch another one of my videos. So what's a rich picture? So in this particular case, this was a hypothetical for a group of folks who work at a local city council, trying to explore how to use all of these tools. And the task that they were given was to design the world's best dog park. They were given a series of things to play with, some images, etc. The famous Australian vet, who is very often on your TV if you watch those sorts of shows. And what they've done here is design, using this rich picture technique, the ideal dog park. Very sadly, Kitty Cat here seems to be one of the main attractions of this dog park. Don't hate me. Now, one of the first tools that we use but we use this in conjunction with the empathy mapping, is what is the customer actually hiring you to do? So here we probably have two key customers: keeping the pet entertained, healthy, safe, and exercised, and at the same time a pet owner, the pet's human, showing empathy, love, care, probably getting a bit of a break, maybe having a social outing themselves. And if you look at this, there are kind of some human components built into this as well. So key tasks. So the two core stakeholders that this business would be hired for is one for the human. So we might put human on one row, and the job for the pet that the pet wants to achieve on another row. And we talk about three components of this. So we describe the circumstance. We talk about the actual functional goal. So for the human, get outside, exercise the pet, any sort of bathroom needs of the pet, some running around, exhaust them so they're not going to keep you awake for hours and leave you alone. The motivational thing might be also to then partly functional, but also be a very effective pet owner and keep your dog healthy. Might also be motivated to reduce vet bills, for example, and increase the longevity of the animal. And then social goals, but also I call these emotional goals in many ways. We have pride in our pets. We want to demonstrate that. We want to feel good. We want to make them part of the family. There's this bigger picture in that. Now, I suspect that the pets don't have quite as many quite specific goals as the humans, but clearly circumstance, the park, functional goal, run around, chase the cat, catch bone, go and play with some other dogs. Motivated animals really are, dogs are social animals. They actually do have the motivation to play, etc. And there's some social goal. We won't go too much into that social emotional goal of dogs, but you can just imagine what they actually are. So you want to be really clear about what these three elements are. They are related, but they're not the same. Now, we think then what actually were the jobs that these people wanted to achieve. So you want to name the people or the groups, and then we want to go and start thinking about what they were thinking or feeling, what were they saying and doing, and what were they hoping to gain, what were their pains. Now, here's some thoughts. When you're doing this, if you're doing it in a group, if you're doing it for your innovation project, for your workplace, we really push that you work alone to start with. If you're actually putting together this jobs to be done map, think about it from your point of view. We love you to use post-it notes, either electronically or actual physical post-it notes. We love you to work in silence to start with. Later on, you actually get to interact and talk. But at the beginning, these are your ideas, and you will most likely have some ideas that will fit with others, and there'll be some that will be quite different. Then you get a chance for everybody to talk that through. Now, an empathy map. So this one is about a bus driver or a set of bus drivers that we did. I'm not going to go into every single component of it, but essentially, this is what a bus driver may or may not be thinking and feeling. So what really matters? What are their major preoccupations? What are their worries and aspirations? So this is really thinking of what's going on in their head, what's their emotional state in many ways. So what are they likely to be hearing around them when they're in that workplace situation? And what are they likely to be seeing around them? What are they likely to be saying or doing, both in private and with others around? And what are the particular pains of this particular group? And finally, what can we do to actually enhance or support? So this is a very interesting story. When we did this piece of work, it was fascinating, all of the things that bus drivers have to do, what they think about, and what all of their challenges are. The city where we're doing this, it was fascinating. About 80% of passengers who get on greet the driver as they get on. Busy city, every single person who gets on acknowledges the driver. The custom is as they get off, they also then give the wave as they exit from the rear of the bus. Now, for about 80% so 80% do that, for 80% of the bus drivers, they love that. For 20% of the bus drivers, it drives them crazy. So one of the outcomes was to actually help drivers understand how important it is that passengers create this sort of sense of community on the bus. Makes everyone, we discovered, feel safer, much more of a community sense. In fact, it had become a rite of passage. Passengers were expecting others to acknowledge the bus driver and thank the driver as they left, which is really fascinating. And it actually, I believe, enhances safety on the bus and also better behavior in those kinds of situations, sort of peer pressure, really important. So a fascinating thing. Here's another example. We did this with a non-profit, a very profitable non-profit in the I'll say it. It's essentially a form of gambling. So they actually sell packages for an art union, essentially. And one of the functions. So there are multiple groups of folks part of this organisation. This group here, direct sales targets. These folks go to shopping centres and actually sell a subscription to this particular business. And we're doing it at lunchtime. Customers were busy, their target audience was busy, everybody hated it. So we actually explored what were the challenges, what were the pains and gains, what were the key stakeholders in this thinking, what do we want to achieve? Highly valued organisation, trusted, high levels of integrity, wonderful operation. The money is used for a very, very good cause that people really appreciate. So we started to think, where would you want to be? Where could you be where you would love to have someone very nice talk to you, not in a hurry, patient, potentially selling you something of value that probably fits with your values, and you know that you're potentially making a contribution, and oh, by the way, you might win a prize. Airports, waiting for buses, doctor's surgeries, those kind of places. It was an absolute revelation to this organisation and the people who were put into that role of actually approaching people and potentially selling. This is a fun one. This was the dog park, and this is from the dog's point of view. Clearly not real, but hey, you can actually work with that. So here's another situation, a group of people who were in a business-to-business service, professional service organisation, thinking very specifically about their role with a particular set of customers. This was incredibly insightful. People got the idea of things that they hadn't really thought about before. We linked this to jobs to be done. This group of people realized that they thought there was one group of customers within a particular segment. The more that they looked at it, there was a much stronger degree of complexity. Really helpful. And then, oh, by the way, they went on and built a service blueprint, and you can explore that in another one of my videos.